Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, two dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty Gencius, a faculty member at Kent State University, a podcaster, and an avid Apple product fan. Just look at my bank account from last week, and you'll see I'm an avid Apple product fan.
Yeah, you don't want to look at my bank account right now. I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content. Currently, photography of plants, birds, panoramic sequences, and spatial stills this week.
We have got our regular panel member back with us again, Daniel Burkholder. It's always great to have him with us because he always has a great twist on things between what Eric and I choose to argue about this week. So, Daniel, welcome, man.
Thank you. Welcome me and my full bank account.
Yeah, your wrist is bare, your phone is bare. That's not the case, at least with me and maybe with Eric. Eric, did you make a decision on a phone or no?
That's what I was in the middle of testing earlier. 16 Pro Max.
You don't make it look big in your hand.
Well, hold it closer to the camera.
Where's the camera? Up here.
Yeah. Now it's real big.
Now it's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So the cool thing about the phones, are you thinking, Eric, you're going to try and create some content with it?
Well, so if you have an Apple Vision Pro, you can go wandering around taking pictures. And I had the 15 Pro Max, and I was doing spatial images or spatial videos with that. But until recently, I couldn't do spatial stills. So they added a thing so you could do spatial stills. But what I had wanted to know, the quality on the Vision Pro headset was better than what I was getting with the 15 as far as the image. It was a little smoother. It just looked better. So my theory is new hardware, new phone. They know what they wanted it to do. I should be able to get better spatial still images with the 16, and apparently I do. There's more area. It's a bigger image. The image coming from the headsets 2560 by 2560. The image I'm getting from the 16 Pro Max is 5712 by 4284.
Yeah.
I need to do a little bit more testing to find out, when you're looking at it, what differences are there. But you seem, you're not peering out of a little teeny window. It's a little bit bigger window.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I'm not much.
You can get your pictures taken in places that you can't put on a headset and wander around without people questioning your sanity.
Yeah, I'm not much of a photographer. We've talked about this before, but I took Aileen said to me, I'm going to take the dog for a walk. And I said, will you make it a short walk? And she said, yeah, we can do that. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to go out and shoot some pictures. This was in a sunny Saturday morning, this last Saturday morning. So I really like the camera on it. And I did some direct shots into sunlight, and it mediated all of that glare and all of that other stuff. I didn't get too fancy with it. I shot some video that was 4K 120 feet per second because I could. And the problem is there aren't a lot of moving objects in space early on a Saturday morning. And joggers kind of creep out when you point a camera at them as they're coming.
If you go walk out into the middle of a street and watch the oncoming traffic, there's a lot of motion. You can get some really good action shots for a few minutes.
Well, yeah, I like to stand in oncoming traffic. So let's get off the phones for a bit, and let's get back into Apple Vision Pro. Some news this week. Surprisingly, we got the developer beta last Monday afternoon, the upgrade to what was it, beta 1, I guess. 2.1 beta 1, and now it's 2.1 beta 2. That was just released this afternoon. Not anything to that I could find on it that was particularly spectacular or informative about this new beta release. I kind of think it was an oopsie and it was small and it probably needed to fix something that they found after the fact on the developer beta 2.1 beta 1. Everybody's waiting for that holy grail, the ultra Mac, Mac Vision screen that you can do, and it's not there yet.
Yeah, I put it on this morning and I haven't noticed anything really outstanding, but I do think on beta one, my eye tracking felt off. I felt like I had to recalibrate it
Hmm.
a couple times where I haven't had to do that in a really long time. So, and I've only used it for a couple hours since beta 2, so I haven't really had any time to see anything happen or not. But yeah, I wish those notes would be a little more descriptive.
We just finished talking about iOS 18.1 beta 4, and as you said, we can do spatial stills with it now and spatial photos. We could always have done on the previous phone. We could do spatial video, and we can still do that. We can do spatial video and spatial audio, which I think is going to be pretty cool if you're in a environment where there's lots of noise and noise meaning like sounds coming from different directions. It'll make you sense that you're in the middle of the action when watching the video back. Any comments on these kind of updates?
Well, the first thing is I'm not installing the betas. I got far enough along I can actually get stuff done. Now I'm trying to do some documentation and move some images back and forth. So I'm hoping to have something that if I comment on it, everybody else can actually look at it, whether they're running the beta or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not yet feeling desperate to get some feature that's not yet here. So that's good news. So yeah, I guess I will see. After you keep talking about beta stuff each week, I might change my mind. But right now I'm treating it like it's more of a production thing where I want it to work consistently and being able to ask questions and get help with it.
Yeah, I won't run a beta on my phone. Just, no. But the Vision, why not? Because it is a beta product.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was referring to when I said betas.
Yeah.
Really, the idea that there are betas on the new version of the phone with the standard 18 will allow you to do some photography and will allow you, depending on the phone you have, to do spatial photography with it and spatial audio with it, as well as spatial video. And so the betas, keeping up with the betas on the Vision Pro, like Daniel said, the whole product is a beta, and I had absolutely no problem with my Vision Pro running the developer betas. So,
Well, and pretty much you needed the 2 version as soon as you could get your hands on it. At the moment, I'm not feeling like I need more than that just yet. And then as far as the spatial video, spatial audio, I think I want to try and find like a smaller soccer match with an audience, something like that, and then see if I can film from bleachers with people, around me and see how that looks.
and pretend you're someone's older uncle
Or
instead of some creepy guy with a camera.
just a fan with, a fan of whoever it is that happens to be playing. I'll see what I can come up with.
I do wish I did have a new phone for the spatial video, though actually that would also be wasted on me because I don't really go anywhere. But imagining going somewhere on vacation and like kind of just POV, like if I'm walking through to have that, it'd be really cool to see if it did sound like I was really there too, not just the video. Just hearing the car go by on your left more so. Not that you couldn't have kind of got that before with just normal surround, but it'd be interesting. I mean, I'm sure people will start posting up videos and stuff, and then I can go and just watch it on my own at some point. Though as I say that aloud, where do you share spatial videos online?
We have an app for you.
Hey,
We have an app for you. Hold out to the app section and I'll talk about one that's I got into this afternoon. I'm like, man, this is good. So hold out till then. They're a very cute, a very cool site to be able to do it with. Um, Now that 2.0 is out and out of the beta and into the public, we're getting all these articles of people talking about how great it was. You know, they spent all of 1.3 until the moment the 2.0 beta came out, talking about how we don't know about this device. It's expensive. How much is it exactly? $3,500. And there was a lot of crap talking about the Vision Pro headset. Now that 2.0 is out, oh, it's turned the corner. It comes into focus, as the Verge article talks about, that finally Apple's Vision Pro comes into focus. A slew of much needed updates in its new OS update. And, you know, of course, it talks about gestures and particularly the homepage gesture and then the other gesture for control center and all sorts of other things in this. You can save one guest user's hand exactly and eye data. Some of the basic stuff that we've known about and that we've talked about on this show since we've all started loading the developer betas early on.
one thing I didn't actually know is I didn't know VisionOS 2 brought, or maybe I did and I just forgot, Safari support for WebXR. I didn't know that came in that. But to be fair, I suppose that I think most of the people who really cared about WebXR support were probably more concerned about adult content, and I
Yeah.
have zero interest in that. So,
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that either, but I did see it in the article.
I mean, I guess that would support like 3D YouTube videos and 360
Mhm.
YouTube videos though. So to be fair, there's more than just adult content for WebXR use in the world.
All right. Um, So more articles. CNET has one that expands its headset potential. I already love the new hand gestures interface, and the 3D photo conversions are amazing too. But I want more, especially for connecting with the iPhone. So this is by Scott Stein.
Have you been using the iPhone mirroring in Vision
Oh
Pro?
yeah, oh yeah.
From day one, I'm like, I want my phone superimposed image like on my hand, like when it's in my hand.
Hmm.
And I'm like, man, we're so close. Just like right there. So hopefully maybe in a later update we'll be able to actually interact with it like you can on the Mac.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you been using it on Sierra too?
No, I haven't updated any of my Macs yet. No particular reason actually.
But you don't you need Sierra to be able to do the phone mirroring on your Macs?
Oh, you do. I just haven't done it because
Oh, okay. All
yeah,
right. Because you just said like you can do it on your Mac. I assumed that maybe you had been doing it on your Mac.
no, not yet.
Um, Eric, are you doing any of that or no?
A little bit, but my work machine is an Intel machine,
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
I'm
and it
sorry.
doesn't work on an Intel machine. So the place where I would most want to use it, it doesn't work.
But your work machine is good for warming up your lunch. Think of it that way.
Yeah, but it's an iMac. Every time I warm up my lunch, I end up wearing it.
And then there's all sorts of, they talk about in CNET, they talk about the widget. Keyboards work when you're in immersive environments, so you can still use your keyboard. You can still type on the beach and see the keyboard.
That is nice.
So yeah, that's out of CNET. And then Mac Daily News, same sort of article in the sense of Vision OS 2 subtly expands the Apple Vision Pro's potential. So like I said, now people are coming to light until after a while, they'll start saying bad things about it again until 3.0 comes out. So then out of XR today, this is the second time I've gone to this media piece and found some interesting stuff. I just don't know how true it is, I guess is one way to say it, or if this is just speculation. So they talk about, will there be an Apple Vision Pro 2? I was with a group I was with the Prescott Mac users group this afternoon, and one guy had a Vision Pro. Another guy really, really wants to get one, but he wants to wait for Vision Pro 2. And I said, okay, enjoy the next 2 years. And when you talk to these Mac users groups, most of the people are of an age that you don't know how long, and I say this to myself too, how long we're going to be around. So live life now. Get yourself a Mac, get yourself an Apple Vision Pro. So the questions are arising about a Vision Pro 2, when the release dates are going to be. This article speculates sometime towards the end of 2016. My guess is it'll be a cheaper, more pared down version of the Vision Pro, because a couple of things. We figured out all the stuff we need and the stuff we don't need. The technology will get better by then. But you think they'd have to start production of it sometime in mid or late 25. So it's wherever the technology was in late 25 to start the ramping up the production on it. So maybe a cheaper headset as a result of that, less of the intensity, or maybe it'll just be, as I think we've said on the show, it might have been Daniel that said it, just a Vision Pro, just a Vision 2 instead of a Vision Pro 2.
I could see that.
Yeah, a friend was asking me what I thought too earlier this today, and I had to really give it a think. And I think you're right on a 2026 timeline,
Yeah.
but I think we'll see something else in the Vision lineup before then. What is the name of these glasses? They're very cool. I don't know if you guys have seen them. They're called Even Realities G1. There's some AR smart glasses. They look nice. They look like regular glasses, not necessarily my style, but they have a display sandwich between the lenses, and they only look marginally bigger than any other normal glasses you'd get. So think like, Meta Ray-Bans ish in that they look normal, but then about the functionality looks about the Apple Watch level of functionality, which an Apple version of the Apple Watch on my eyes. And I could see that being part of the Vision lineup of things. As far as the actual headset goes, yeah, I don't know. Like, I would like to see a spec bump, and I don't
Yeah.
expect a form factor change. I wouldn't expect a form factor change until that 2026, but
Yeah.
maybe just a spec bump in between. Maybe we get an M4 and some improved optics. That'd be nice, but it's going to be like Mac and iPad life cycles, really, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think you can. I think you can't just do little spec bumps in the middle, because the sheer cost of it, it's sort of like I just paid 3,500 on it, and now I can go get a new model for maybe even the same price with better spec on it.
That's true.
It doesn't reward the early adopters. Not that they should necessarily be rewarded, but you really, with a product that costly, if it stays that costly, you've got to give some space between the upgrades, that won't dissuade people from buying it, knowing that it will be the device for the next 2 to 3, 4 years, and there won't be little jumps. When you're talking about an iPad, $700, the spec bumps don't influence people as much. Well, you get a new iPad, you get the best spec, but frankly, it's not a $3,500 product that people have just purchased that suddenly it has a slight spec bump in it.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
Although I think you still are going to need a spec bump the same way they had to do, some changes to the phones to deal with the Apple Intelligence. That didn't exist at the time they were doing all the design on the Apple Vision Pro. So I think taking that into account and making some changes. In the meantime, getting the Apple Intelligence to the point where there's a little bit more voice control, some more things you can do, by voice, I think is important, because that would then get rolled back into the headset with a little bit better control, some more options. There are things that are a little bit difficult to do now. If you get better voice control, then it may not matter so much. And then it's worth adding the extra features. And if you need to do something for the existing people, you just give them really good trade-in.
Talks about how here's a surprise. I think anybody could have predicted this. It might also have a new strap design.
I mean, a lot of people don't like the existing setups.
So that's what I mean. Is that really a tough prediction to make? If that's the thing that people talk about, besides the cost and the weight on your head, and the support that you get with the current two options, I can see them changing the strap design. Another factor might be whether Apple chooses to add controllers and accessories to its new headset. I got into a discussion with someone who said, "Oh, but they're going to do that, and that's going to be bad." And I'm like, "No, gamers would like that." And I kind of had to explain what you taught me a little bit about, Daniel, is that the response rate with controllers is going to always be faster, and the accuracy is always going to be faster than what you can get with your fingers. And for that reason, particularly gamers, whether you think this is a gaming device or not, gamers will appreciate that good set of controllers.
And I mean, historically speaking, too, Apple doesn't really care about the gamer market, even though at the same time, every other event they have, they talk about games all the time. So it's
Mhm.
kind of a mixed bag. But I mean, like, yeah, when we're talking your gamer with a capital G, hardcore gamer, I mean, they're not even in this market at all anyway. They don't care about like, the animosity is mutual between both, right? Like, so I don't know if I'd see them doing that because then I think it would start to mix up the I don't know if it'd mix up the product. I don't know. It's like you might see them sell them at their store, right? But they don't like they sell game controllers at the Apple store, but
Yeah.
they're third party. Like they don't make one. I don't see I just can't see it. I don't know. Because I think they want to focus on their core I don't even want to say use cases, but like consumer or core experience, which is not controllers.
Yeah, and one of the initial messaging ideas is that you didn't have to have a bunch of extra stuff to make everything work. You needed the headset, you needed, vision and hands, and you could pretty much do everything. And yeah, you could add a keyboard or whatever if you really wanted to, but that was optional too. And if you start adding a bunch of extra controllers, as nice as it might be, it kind of muddies the water of how much stuff do you need.
Yeah, now I got to charge these three extra things, and I have this battery pack in my pocket, and
We're going to need a bigger desk.
yeah, I'm gonna
All
need a
right.
bigger chest sling bag to hold all these
All that
different
stuff
things
in.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I can get through this vacation without the game controllers and the chargers for the game controllers, just to save space. This article I found I thought was interesting, but as you read it, it's a little bit less exciting as it could be. This is from Vogue, and a person, the editor's experience attending the Milan Fashion Week through the Apple Vision Pro headset. So it makes you think somebody flew to Milan, put their headset on, and watched all the runway stuff. That's not what happened. What happened was that they got a stream. They were sitting at home or sitting in a office space and getting a stream of the fashion show coming to them through their headset. And they said, frankly, by the time the runway started, I was always already down to 20% in power because they sat and waited and waited and waited. They did like the experience. It might be another use scenario that if we could start setting up live streams, it would be interesting what kinds of things we could be live streaming and picking up through Vision Pro. Doesn't talk anything about spatial photography or spatial video being used in this article. It's just the experience of watching the fashion show on a headset with some delay. It wasn't, it was recorded and then streamed to them.
And I guess I found it a little bit more interesting than you did.
Okay.
The battery part, that was in reference to their phone at events, usually that they were using their phone so much that it would drain by the time the show started.
Mm-hmm.
Not the headset. Um, So in this case, they put the headset on, they could start watching. It dropped in. It was kind of immersive. They were missing, it's sort of the difference between going to a remote conference and an in-person conference. They were missing the hall track. And
Yeah.
really, there's nothing you could do about that. But I think that what they did get to see, they found captivating and interesting, and they were happy that they got an extra little message at the end of the video, and it put them in the front seats right up, getting some of the best view you could get. But when they wanted to go talk to other people and get their opinion or what, that wasn't possible. So to me, it seemed more of they might have to either restructure things a little bit, or try to figure out how to have some backstage views or whatever, to kind of bring some of those extra components in. Or maybe some interviews with some of the designers separately. You can't replace an in-person event, but if you can't get there and will totally miss it, it gives you something you wouldn't normally be able to get. And it's better than talking to somebody who went to the event and trying to get them to describe what the important bits were.
You can replicate that experience, surely. We'll just, have you seen the big, like the spatial cameras that they use to record them? They kind of have like a face, a little picture, whatever. Just stick that on a Segway, you know, put an iPad, add the persona of whoever's talking to whoever, and it's just roaming the hall. There you go. Totally not dystopian at all, guys. But yeah, that it wasn't spatial. Yeah, because it doesn't mention anything about that. That's
Oh,
kind of lame.
are you sure? I
Like
thought it was.
I
Oh,
didn't
did I
see
miss
any
that?
mention of it, unless
It,
I missed it too somehow. But if
I
that
guess I
wasn't
was
spatial, then that's
assuming.
kind of disappointing in some ways. Because it's like, okay, cool, you just watched a live stream in a
Right.
headset.
Well, they really missed out then.
Because like I would actually, I'm not even into fashion, but I would watch it just because it'd be kind of fun in spatial. Why
Well,
not?
and you need the depth.
Yeah.
I want them like the walking at you, you know.
Yeah. Those very thin, wafy models walking
Yeah,
directly at you.
and they turn around, they turn invisible for a minute, and then they keep going.
I fault the writer of this for not making that clear. I'm guessing it was spatial. They just didn't make it clear,
Well,
because the headset alone is not enough to say that it beats any other kind of live stream. Well, I mean, it may be, but
I mean, a big 4K, 80-inch in your face would still be nice, to be fair. But yeah, missed
yeah.
opportunity if it wasn't spatial.
Wow. Okay. I guess I just assumed. So I'm looking forward to getting more of this kind of thing. I really wish the writers would do a better job of communicating what actually happened, and maybe they didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, well, these are not tech writers. These are fashion writers. And as such, they wouldn't geek out on it. They would just say, oh, cool. It was like I was there, but I had a headset on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We don't cover much about stocks, and we don't cover much the business end of Apple Vision Pro, but this came out of seekingalpha.com, and Apple, the real boost behind Vision Pro and AI phones. And this is regarding stocks and regarding sales. Apple is usually very tight-lipped about this, so I think you take all of this with a grain of salt, but some aspects of the articles, Apple's Vision Pro captured 57% of the total value in its category globally in Q1 2024, despite only 17% unit share. Its innovative strategy relies heavily on the App Store. We know about that, allowing it to maintain a 45% gross margin. iOS 18 emphasizes customization and Apple Intelligence. Apple's strategy allows for integration of LLMs. Major risks to Apple include the potential loss of Google's search engine placement fee, established at $20 billion, allowing external payments in apps, which could impact service revenues, and declining market share in China due to regulatory issues and competition from local brands. So Vision Pro was a surprising success, according to this article. Apple only anticipated 400K units to be sold by the device in 2024. That's not, grammar's not right on that. And guess what? It's got a $3,500 purchase price. So it expected to be worth only 1.4 billion. How can you put only in front of 1.4 billion, which is a small portion of Apple's revenue? But the Q1 2024 March quarters, Vision Pro captured 50% of the total value created in the category globally. Apple quickly overthrew Meta in less than a year. After June 28th, 2024, Apple Vision Pro will likely be available in key Asian nations like China and Japan. We know it is. And this could further increase Apple's market share there. Talking about the numbers.
In many ways, it's typical Apple. Charge more, get more, but it's better product, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But the Vision Pro numbers are, I mean, I guess not surprising, but at the same time, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have been surprised if it was less, at least less in terms of total units. But the year's not over.
We still have some quarters to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I found sort of an odd article as far as how they looked at the valuation of everything, and I'm not sure that I totally understand or agree with how they're doing what they're thinking the value is. It's financial. We'll let that go, I guess. 57% of the total value by the global category. Okay. I mean, they're more expensive headsets. Yeah, it's more value.
Yeah, like
how mature is that category? How full is the actual category? So controlling 57% of it, it's still pretty immature.
And like, what's the time frame there, right? This product's not even been out a year, and has there been any new? Again, I don't, just because I don't know how they figure that out, but like, has there been any new product to compare it to? I mean, you could compare existing Quest products, and I mean, there was a few that have come out, but I don't know if I'd put them in the same category. I wouldn't put a Big Screen Beyond or a Pimax or any of those like dedicated PC VR headsets in the same category, which a lot of people do kind of conflate. So like those don't count. The Quest counts. Was like Virtue Pro, that counts too, but that's like that's like China only. There's like another China one. So it's like, yeah, it would be interesting to know how they come to that number. But in the absence of any other actual competitor really lately, yeah, of course, because it's the only new one to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's a global category, but it wasn't really global.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Huh? Oh, well, then, hey, that speaks to it then. We did it globally, but only in the US to start for the first couple of months.
So, I mean, really, what I get out of the article is Apple coming into the market basically legitimized the product category. But nobody's really entirely sure exactly what that means, what the category is, or who that encompasses, or really are there a couple different pieces of it? That's still unknown. And some of the other articles we're talking about today, I think, up with some other headsets, that's all new. That's all recent, and we don't know yet how all that's going to shake out.
Yeah, so this time next year with all those headsets, it'd be interesting to see what those numbers are.
Yes.
Yeah, I just don't know if those other headsets get the traction in terms of, where am I going to find some of these headsets? It's not like I'm going to walk into a big box store necessarily and see these things. So let's move on to that next category, which is a whole slew of articles that came out last week that talked about alternate headsets, either in production, costs, and I would encourage the listeners to read through the articles sort of as a batch. And we'll have all these notes attached to the podcast, attached to the video cast, and available for you with links to these articles. But the first one out of the box is an article on XR Today. So we're back to XR Today again. Big XR news from Snap, Meta, HTC, Vive, and Apple Vision Pro. So this article kind of does this is what's new with this one, this is what's new with this one, this is what's coming with this one, cross product comparison. And I don't know if this article in particular adds anything or makes any predictions. And it's planning on debuting an accessible, we're talking about Meta here, an accessible MR device for consumers. It aims to mirror its success in deploying the Quest 2, which brought VR to the mainstream of consumer conversation. And nobody talks about Quest 2 anymore. They'll talk about Quest 3 or they'll talk about Apple Vision Pro. So I'm not sure you want to go back and mirror the success in deploying the Quest 2.
Oh, no one talks about Oculus anymore either. But of course they
Yeah.
bought them. So yeah, I mean it has been kind of actually this week, 10 days or so has been kind of crazy like that. Right. So what? There's the Snap Spectacles, which looks like you just had eye surgery and you got big honking sunglasses like you just went to the eye doctor, which somehow those is augmented reality glasses, which and Snap's been doing that for a while. Little prototypes here and there, and you can't even buy these as a normal person today. You can only buy them as a developer at like a subscription fee as well. I think it's like 40 or $100 a month or something. I don't know. Which nothing if you're a dev, so whatever. So as an AR glasses, those look really cool. Well, they look interesting functionally. They don't look cool. Somehow they managed to make you look dorkier than wearing a Vision Pro. Like I would feel far more comfortable with my Vision Pro in public than those.
Yeah,
Um,
the Snap article, I'm looking at it, and what you said, Daniel, I noticed it was like these glasses look funky.
yeah.
And I'm looking at and this is a technologyreview.com, MIT Technology Review. And I look at it and I'm like, they put really big glasses. It's like when you were a kid and you put your dad's glasses on. That's what it looks like. The model who has them on now. And you notice the side stems are not really stems. They're big hunkin'.
Yeah, they like protrude pretty far out and then
Yeah, but then they go back and they look like they're probably an inch or so in width going back. So there's a lot of the computing device that's in the stems.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think they did something clever where they somehow did like I'm gonna say stereo compute. I can't remember the
Huh.
exact specifics, but like somehow the right side does part, left side does another part. It was kind of interesting. Yeah, so there's the spectacles like this past week or so. What else? There was that HTC new Vive headset, which I looked at that one. And not that I have a ton of experience in older VR sets, but I do know when I see the words LCD and Fresnel lenses, I got I was like, icky, gross, ooh. And in
Fresnel
2024.
lenses.
2024 for $1,000, ew, icky. But otherwise on paper it seems good, but like given just kind of those two keywords alone, LCD, ew. I
Yeah.
don't know what they're making that
And
for.
this is a TechCrunch article. Combined 5K resolution display has 120-degree field of view and can support up to 120 hertz refresh rate.
Okay,
Uh,
that makes the LCD more like okay, compromise if you really need the high refresh, high
yeah,
field of view. If that's the compromise, I didn't notice that part in the specs. If that's the compromise, then sure. And a gamer, which this is probably more aimed at that, is then more appropriate. You would want the higher refresh rate, and it does have DisplayPort input, so that part is nice.
here's the thing that bothered me about this article. In here, they use spatial computing, and I have
Is
to
it?
find it, but I remember that because they have that one image of the guy standing. It looks like it might be a website that he's looking at. I can't quite tell, but it's got the match schedule of some teams, I guess. And the screen, is shown floating in midair, but they call it spatial computing, and I'm not sure this is a computing device.
Oh, good point. Like I think it
And whether,
is.
yeah,
Yeah, because it has like I think it is. So it's more like the Quest, less so like a big screen Beyond or a Pimax, where those are like just just screens. No, I do believe that this has standalone capability as well.
And is this tethered?
I think if you want to optionally do DisplayPort input for your PC VR, then yeah, it would be. I don't know if they would do wireless PC VR, but I think any of the headsets, for the most part, like the Quest can do it. I don't see any reason why this wouldn't be able to do wireless PC VR as well.
Hmm.
Cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I think I'll take that money and buy two Quests instead, honestly. Yeah,
And
so
then
they,
the
yeah.
visor, 9 to 5 Mac has an article on the immersed visor.
The visor would be cool if their demo worked. Apparently, at the event, none of their demos even worked. And the few demos that people got to do, it was just like a slideshow of static images. Kind of insane. But if now the visor, I look at the visor, that's what I want to see a Vision Pro, like cheaper
Uh,
model, be like. The form factor, the size.
Yeah.
It's like 100 and it's not even like 200 grams. It's like a third of the weight. It's insane. And I mean, for me with using the Vision Pro, I'll use it without light seals most of the time. And when I see the visor and how everything seems to fit and put it on and everything, and that seems pretty much how I'm using the Vision Pro, but a third of the weight.
Hmm.
So if
yeah.
we can get to this form factor, if Apple can, oh man, that'll be a much bigger, easier sell. But apparently that, like, yeah, like the demos didn't work out very well. It seems very promising. This one was also weird. You have to now Immersed also makes a software, an app for the Quest, and it's on the Vision Pro now, I think, for like virtual office, like virtual displays and all that jazz. Um,
Hmm.
and so I think if I recall for the visor, if you do want to get one now, you have to not very expensive, but then you had to do a subscription fee to their immersed software platform, which then if you price it out, you could pay it all up front for like $1,500 or something like that. Um,
1,050 outright, otherwise 1,360 over 24 months.
yeah. And weird pricing, I'm kind of okay with that either way. I hope this works, and I hope it can show what like in my mind, this is what I hope a lighter Vision Pro would be. So this one I'm excited to see them develop more in the future, but I don't know, it's sketchy.
We've got Dave Ginsburg of In Touch with iOS in the chat room with us, and Dave just got a Vision Pro headset a couple of weeks ago, and I told him that we would have him on the show as a guest sometime soon, and go through we'll go through the news, and if Daniel's here or Daniel's not, we'll still have him on as a guest because we'll just have another slot to talk about stuff with. But David does In Touch with iOS on Tuesday nights and no, Thursday nights. Sorry, David. Thursday nights and covers a little bit about Vision Pro now that he has got a headset himself. And it's fun to hear him. He was struggling with doing the gestures, particularly getting the control center. And I got a text message from him today that said, finally got it. Now I got it. So that's good to hear.
You gotta look at your fingers where it'll be.
Really, that's the thing. You have to look at your fingers.
Yeah, that's kind of that yeah, that's kind of what I've determined. And what you can kind of do too if you want to verify, you can kind of stick both your fingers up like kind of L's and then swap
Mhm.
your eyes between them and you can watch. It'll swap between your hands.
Yeah, I
Huh.
think for me, it was, I kept approaching it by just putting my fingers down and going, where's the dot? Where's the control center? Where's the control center? But it's that whole, I'm going to flip that little dot over and then it's going to become the control center. So yeah.
So well, there was one more thing that I saw in recent headset. Oh, in competition. We know Meta has an event this week, a developer conference. So
Yeah.
of course, not long after, what was it? I think during, well, in this last week of all this other news, they announced that they were keeping up their partnership with Luxottica for Ray-Bans. So how
I heard that
convenient
was dead
timing.
though. One
Yeah,
time I said like Ray-Ban doesn't want their name on any of their stuff.
I think it was the idea of something thicker, which if they were talking about making something like the spectacles big, then yeah, I don't blame them.
Mhm.
But yes, I mean, I'm sure it was strategic announcement with all the other headsets coming out and this week. So look forward to this weekend. Maybe we'll see, or this Thursday and Friday. Like
Hmm.
kind of Meta and Apple are really the two to watch the most. So to see where some of this is going. And there was already leaks of a Quest 3S.
To 3S, yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I'll get one or something, but because
And
I should get one to evaluate the competition. And I
yeah,
mean, I actually play some games sometimes. So until I get my Surreal Touch controllers in, I can get a little bit into VR gaming in the meantime.
if it's going to be cheaper, and what I heard was they're going to try and drop the $500 price down to the 399 or the 299 or 399 price. It would be worth getting a headset just to see what it could do.
Yeah, I
It's
think the leaked ad I
supposedly
saw was,
likely unveil on September 25th, so Wednesday, 2 days from today.
yeah. Yeah, I think the leaked ad I saw said that it had like 399 for a 128 gig model.
Yeah, we'll
So
sell anywhere from between 299 and 399. If it comes anything close to replicating what the Quest 3 can do, that's a heck of a deal. And then the antithesis of Apple's offering, which is $3,500, like we didn't know.
they also are losing money on every unit.
What,
Meta.
Meta? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now they get to lose more money. Yeah, I would be tempted to get. I wonder when they'd go on sale. They're announcing
I mean, it would
on
definitely be
Wednesday.
before or targeting holiday. I mean, we are
Yeah.
entering that time of year.
And then there's one final one I think to talk about, which is the Pico 4 Ultra.
The controller is looking suspiciously surreal touch like
Yeah,
in there. Not surprising. Yeah, this one looks promising too, but I think this one was definitely only available in China. I can't recall because on paper this one also did seem like extremely promising. Yeah, this is the one
extremely
that comes with feet tracking.
feet tracking.
You know, you got to get that realistic leg movement in VR chat. How else you gonna do? You know, it's exactly what I need. I mean, hey, some people are really into VR chat. So, I mean, I'm sure there'd be some games where that'd be really interesting too to have foot tracking.
Equipped with a Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2, so a powerful system on a chip.
Actually, kind of interesting. Snapdragon, Windows is finally transitioning to ARM again for like the third or fourth time. And Snapdragon has they're kind of leading that on the Windows laptop side of things. And I don't know, just they got to be in a really great place when all these other computing devices are basically every other thing we talked about has a Snapdragon, like the same Snapdragon in it, which is, I mean, great for
Yeah.
them, great for us, honestly, but I gotta give it to them.
It looks like it's the UK starting in September 20th.
It isn't available at this time of the review. It isn't available on Amazon's US store. In the UK, its currently asking price for the glasses is £529. Someone do the numbers on that if you can, or I will.
Seven something.
That's
Probably
with the motion trackers included.
705, but that's subject to change. Actually, it's at a low, well, it's gone back up in terms of the pound. So a whole slew of them. We've got as we just mentioned, the Pico 4, the Meta 3S, the very strange looking Snaps spectacles, the immersed visor, and then the HTC Vive Focus Vision headset. So all of those articles and links will be placed within the show notes so you can look at them and make some decisions on your spending and how you want to spend your money. I think that cuts through everything until we get to apps. And I've got two apps, and maybe you have ones to add in. But I'm going to start with Spatial Station. Spatial Station. I saw it. It's in the App Store, and it's one of probably the new ones out this week. It's on another platform. You can get it on the iPad, I think, and you can get it on the phone. But there's nothing like it on the like the experience on a Vision Pro. It is free or maybe $2.99. I haven't purchased any additional add-ons for it or the price. I don't think it was. I think it might have been at least $2.99, maybe $5.99, or free. I can't tell. Can't remember. But it's got some really, really good spatial videos in it. Just incredible stuff. I from Chicago, so I took a airplane flight, or not an airplane flight, a helicopter flight over, the Chicago lakefront, south side lakefront, and that was pretty cool. And then there are other really good immersive kinds of spatial videos. There's some funky stuff in there. There's some models doing their model things. But all in all, it looked like it had a good amount of material in there. And I presume you can submit.
Yep. If you search for Wisconsin, then I have some seagulls and some color changing mushrooms and some shooting stars, May apples. Works pretty well.
I'm curious about the color changing mushrooms. Is that after someone consumed the mushrooms, they became color changing? Is that what? So that's what Wisconsin. That's what Wisconsin has to offer. Seagulls, color changing mushrooms, and what was the last thing?
Shooting stars and May apples.
I was going to joke a big block of cheese.
Yeah, I haven't submitted
Spatial cheese.
Yeah.
We got a show title, Spatial Cheese. But Spatial Station, a good app to look into. Now, I'm going through Reddit, and this was like an hour before the show when we're recording, and someone posts, hey, I had this app, I put it on iPad or I put it on iPhone, and my partner and I put it together and just got it on Apple Vision Pro. Will you check it out? It's free, and it's called Food Holiday Calendar. It might come as a surprise to both you, Daniel, and also Eric, that Friday is National Chocolate Milk Day. This is a calendar of all the celebration days of food. And it's kind of fun, so I went in and I got it and I looked at it, and I think you can pay for like $12 a year, half off of what it usually is, and it gives you some syncing capabilities, and frankly I think it gives you access across all the platforms. You can get away without it. You might also be interested that not only is Friday is Milk Chocolate Day, but milk chocolate goes back to the ancient Egyptians, who used to mix chocolate bean or chocolate powder in with milk because they saw it as medicinal. And then it was later picked up. It tells you the story of these days. So I'll tell you one thing I wish it had. And the person, when they posted this, said, if you have any ideas, just tell me what we think we should do. For each of these things, each of these days, I'd like a recipe. I'm a foodie and I like to cook. So I don't think it's too hard to make chocolate milk, but I'm sure there's some spin on it or some tips on it that you could suggest in a recipe. But they had other things like, I think Wednesday is quesadilla day. This and 2 days from now, they're probably, they probably lined up MetaQuest 3S to launch on Quesadilla Day. So I would love to have recipes attached to it, just in case I get inspired and want to, since it's Quesadilla Day, I want to make quesadillas.
Or different variants, I don't know. People make different foods, the same foods, but differently in different regions.
Yeah, that's it. Even if they just say they had 300, and not all the days are celebrated if you look at the calendars. So, like 3/4 of the month probably has a food day, and some of them have two foods on them. But say you could, say you did just added 300 recipes on it that's tied to each one of those celebration days. Day after Thanksgiving, I notice, because usually I do the cooking the day after the Thanksgiving. This year it lands on lemon cream pie day. That would be fun to try and make. Have a nice lemon cream pie. So those are my two apps. I don't know if you have any reaction to either one of these, Spatial Station and Food Holiday Calendar.
My only comment on the calendar is what, why is it a subscription?
Well, somebody's got to make money, you know. Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Why is it a subscription? Yeah, you're right. You would expect to see some changes in it. You know, a flat price, yeah, and then you own it, and whatever updates happen. But there's not a lot that at this point they can update on it. But it's fun. I have a similar app on my phone for like crazy day celebrations, like today is National Vacuum Cleaner Day or something like that. But this is all surrounding food.
Now I really want a lemon cream pie. That's all I can think about.
Yeah, I want to know how to make one. You know, that's the thing. I like those kind of challenges with recipes. So, guys, we wrap up the show at this point. I just want to let folks know we have a new project with Chuck Joyner of Mac Voices. Eric and I are sort of we're regular panel members for Mac Voices live on Tuesdays, but Chuck and I are and Eric are taking like every 5 weeks and recording a segment on aspects of the Vision Pro. We just put out one, and it's titled Vision Pro Focus, and we just put part 1 of entertainment out. We talked about an hour and 15 minutes on entertainment. So Chuck's splitting it up into 2 shows, and we will load the audio. And so it'll become part of your regular Vision Pro Files podcast. Occasionally you'll get a Vision Pro Focus pop in there as an extra episode. And Chuck is doing the video and I think also the audio through Mac Voices. So it's available there too. And it's just a conversation about some aspect of it. It's not like you get here with the weekly news, new apps and things like that, but it's a particular aspect of the device that we're having conversations about. So look for it, Vision Pro Focus. You can again find the audio as part of our stream with Vision Profiles, and you can also find it on Mac Voices Live as part of Chuck's work and what he's doing. And so that's an exciting project to get involved in. Thank you for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or want to join an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. And I'm moving things over to a new website. And right now you can get the beginnings of that website at visionprofiles.net. Currently, we also have visionprofiles.info, and I'll redirect that to the new site as the new site gets up and running. I've got to put some more content on it and make sure the RSS feed is available for people to pick it up. So look for us on visionprofiles.net, and you can find out about all the other available podcasts at thepodtalk.net. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Daniel, thanks for joining us. Any news or anything you want to share with listeners?
Wish I had, though.
Okay. Well, make trouble, make news, and you'll have something to share at the end next time we have you on. But it's always great. I'm glad you're finding time every couple of weeks to join us, and hope it continues. Spread the word to other visionaries, and thanks for tuning in and listening. See you next time.